So for my job, I do business for a company. In many cases, I do business for my company at other companies. Because of this, I've been given a company car. And I've had company cars for about 4 or 5 years now. Really kind of running the gamut of different kind of cheap economy boxes. For the last few months, this has been my car, a 2013 Ford Taurus SEL. Outfitted with the 3.5 liter V6 producing about 285 horsepower. This is the front wheel drive version, not the all wheel drive. So there are two types of cars that you never want to buy used. The first being a used rental car for obvious reasons, and the second being a used fleet car, a used company car, much for the same reasons as the rental car. The owners or the caretakers, the primary drivers of a fleet car, a company car, really don't have any vested interest in maintaining that car or looking out for its well-being beyond the 10-foot check that the whoever the fleet manager is for the company is going to give the car when you turn it back in. So the 6th generation Ford Taurus got a facelift in this model year, 2013, originally debuting in 2010. Beyond the grille being updated a little bit to match kind of more of the a little bit of the Ford Fusion kind of brand identity that Ford was going with in 2013, and the lights in the back and a couple minor things inside. This car looks, for all intents and purposes, very similar throughout the entire range, which could be good for some people. If you could find a 2010 or 11 Ford Taurus in pretty good condition, you could easily pass this off as a much newer car. So here's the thing about the Taurus. People aren't buying them. People aren't buying big sedans in general. People want crossovers. People want a car that they can put a Yakima roof rack on and pretend they go kayaking on the weekends. This is not exactly that car. Based on the people who you typically see driving these cars, this is more the hit the early bird special at the Country Kitchen buffet car. And to be fair, Ford did know and does know their market for this car. There's the rumor that I've not been able to substantiate, but back when they were developing this car, the word is that Ford engineers actually would put on fat suits, Monica Geller from Friends style, and get in and out of this car, in and out, in and out, in and out, to see if it would be comfortable for larger, older, less mobile Americans. This car is very much set up for comfort. It rides higher. If you put this car next to some of the crossovers it's competing against, the roofline is not that much lower than an Equinox or an Escape. It sits up more upright versus some sedans where you sit more down low, like a low-slung sports car. That does not have that feel at all. This is more of an upright, almost, like I said, almost a crossover feel to it. So anyways, back to the fact that people aren't buying large sedans in general. That's particularly true for the Ford Taurus. In 2015, Ford moved about 39,000 of these, so just under 40,000 units. I'm guessing quite a few of those went into fleet use, and the other half went to the geriatric community. I guess that'd be the most politically correct way to term that. So you compare that to Ford sales numbers for the Taurus in year 2000, where they moved 400,000 units. That's about 10 times the amount of Tauruses that Ford moved this last year. 10 times more cars. Sport mode. Cornering. Not his strong suit. Getting up to highway speed, it does it tidily. The car gets up to highway speed, no problem. And anywhere even resembling the speed limit, you have plenty of torque, you have plenty of passing power. I've maneuvered through, staggered traffic pretty handily in this car. So on the highway, this thing reminds me of like a Boeing 747 jetliner. It's not the fastest, it's not the most maneuverable, but it just cruises. It's planted, it's smooth. We're at 70 right now, 80. 70 to 85 in just a couple seconds, no problem. So kind of building on the fact that this car is understated and somewhat unremarkable, you really do not draw any unwanted attention. As I exceed the speed limit as a cop goes the other way. And that's exactly my point. This car isn't flashy. This car's not going to catch the eye of, well, it's not going to catch the eye of anybody, but that goes for law enforcement as well. So if you do have a heavy foot and you're a salesman on the road, that might pay off. So the interior of this car is a pretty nice place to be, especially the SEL version. This one's equipped with leather seats, leather heated seats, which are nice. The sync infotainment system seems to work all right. It's got its quirks like most of these types of systems do. But overall, pairs with your phone nicely, plays music well, responds pretty quickly to touch inputs, which is nice. Not all of these touch screens actually respond. Okay, now to some of the pet peeves that I've come across after about 10,000 miles in this car at this point. Number one, the gear shifter. I don't know what it is, and this might be really splitting hairs, but to me, it just seems a little too high and a little too clunky, if that makes any sense. Especially nowadays, most cars are moving more towards smaller Prindles gear selectors, and this one, it sits up high, and it makes the car feel antiquated. This is a 2010 design here, and it dates the car for me a little bit. It takes me out of thinking that this could be a brand new car. The second is a visibility issue. Looking out front and looking side to side, it's not too bad. The A-pillars are large, but most newer cars do have large A-pillars to meet any kind of rollover requirements. The visibility I'm talking about, though, is the rear belt line. So the rear belt line in this car is very high. If you look at the like a profile of this car, it kind of slopes up and angularly drops off, which kind of skews the visibility looking out back a bit. So for instance, if there's a car behind you, even if it's at a pretty safe following distance or not tailgating you, you can't see its headlights. So that kind of gives you the perception that this car behind you is tailgating you. So you're always driving a little bit more on edge. You feel like everything behind you is very close. Another way this causes problems is reversing. This car is not equipped. I'm sure they did come equipped and do come equipped with rear view cameras, even in 2013. But this one's not. So reversing is a little precarious when you're checking all your mirrors and just hoping there's not a toddler behind you, because you would never see it. Another small complaint I have about this car is the turn signal. It's unlike any other car I've ever driven, really. Usually you take the turn signal stock, it stays in either a upward or downward position while engaged, and then once completing the turn or manually putting it back to center, disengages the turn signal. This one, you'll move either up or down, indicating left or right, and it automatically returns right to center. So if you don't complete the turn, then you have to go and manually hit the turn stalk to reverse the turn signal. So if you're going left, you would hit down, and if you don't trigger it to return to normal, to cancel the turn signal, you have to manually go and hit it to the right to indicate, as if you're indicating a right turn, and that cancels the turn signal out. That might be a little confusing. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that completely correctly, but the point is, it's very tough to get used to. And I've been driving this car for, like I said, about 10,000 miles now, and I'm not used to it. It's still very strange. All in all, this car does serve its purpose. It is a smooth, quick, comfortable way to get from one business meeting to another. Would I buy this car for personal use? I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I like to go kayaking on the weekends. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my take on the 2013 Ford Taurus. I'm going to try to be doing a couple more car reviews here and there, so look out for those. And please leave any feedback, subscribe. Thanks a lot.